Alright, so in this video we are going to create that lovely little effect in CSS with some 3D animation, just like that. Alright, great, so let's code it right now. I will put the source code in the description if you want to use it. And we can start with our index.html. We have simply two files, index.html and style.css. Alright, so I will just zoom it a bit. Okay, I can even hide the activity bar. And we can start it. So, we will create a div with the class scene and some paragraph inside it, letter anim, and a span with S, so for the first letter, and a data letter. So we will use that data letter right there just to give that letter to the pseudo element before and after of the span, okay? So the data X attribute is very useful if you want to retrieve that value either in CSS or in JavaScript. Okay, so we do have the first S right there. We can just create the other. So T, T, Y, Y, and L, 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 L. So you can just select both with Alt, selection, selection. Okay, selection, selection. Style. Okay, so style. If we open it right now, it won't look really beautiful, but this is the base. This is the HTML. Now we need to style it, so we can just head to our style CSS. We do have a simple reset. The body is 100 VH tall, and that's pretty much it. So we will give a nice little linear gradient 70 degrees. And from DE958D to F2D359. Okay, and now we do have a lovely little gradient. So we will put some padding top too, just to create an offset between the letter and the top. Fine, fine. So we do have our scene right there, which is the global container, and we will style it, text align center, and font weight bolder, just like that. Then letter anim and letter anim span will take a display inline block. So basically, a letter anim is this one, and it will just put the letter one after another in a row, just like that. And also, you need to put block right there because we do want to use the transform property on the span element. And this is something you need to know. You cannot use the transform property on inline element. If it is only an inline element, it won't work. It will only work with block element or inline block element, indeed. All right, so this is why I put that there. So then we can continue with the scene span, a cursor pointer just for the style, position relative because it will have some pseudo elements before and after, a font size of 250 pixels, and some perspective. So this is a not so known property right there, perspective. It will create a depth between my screen and the element. So basically the span right there. So the different span that I have there. And since there will be some depth, the effect will look better. It won't look flat, it will look better. So the perspective is created from the screen to that element and its children. It's important. Okay, great. So we can continue and we will create the pseudo element before and after. Because right now we are only seeing the letter right there, the span, but the animation, the red animation on the top will be the pseudo element after, and the shadow below will be the pseudo element before. Okay, so we need to go there and style letter anim span before, comma, letter anim span after. So we will style both of the pseudo elements with their common property and value. So position absolute content, we will use the data letter attribute So remember the data letter attribute right there. Okay, so we will just use it and we can see it right there. They are using it, it's great. And then inset 0, so top, bottom, left, right, 0. Transform origin left, very important. Because right there you see that the transformation occurs from the left, okay? It's not from the center of the element. And by default, basically, it's from the center of the element if you don't put left or right or whatever. Okay. Okay, great. So this is the command property. Those are the command properties of both pseudo elements right there. Now we can style them one by one. So letter anim span before. We'll put a transition on transform 0.4 seconds and is out. And the color will be RGBA 000 0.122. Okay, great. So the before will be the shadow right there. Okay, so this is the shadow. Right now we cannot see it. Actually, we cannot. We could already style the animation. So let's do it right now. Letter anim colon hover. So span before. So whenever we hover a letter anim, the before of the span inside it will transform scale x 0.85 and skew y 20 degrees. So it will shrink and have a distortion. Okay, and you can see it right there. It's already working. So it's already working. Success, great. So now we can style the upper animation, the red animation or the blue or whatever. Okay, so the thing that is on the top animation. So letter anim span after. The color will be white by default, and the transition will be on transform 0.4 seconds is out, and we can add a multiple transition with a comma right there, and the other transition will be on color, and it will be basically the same. Okay, so some people may say that color is not a good property to animate, but if it's some little animation like that, it's perfectly fine. If you're really crazy about animation performance, you can create a layer and you can add some more span right there, but seriously, just for that animation, it will be fine. It will be fine. Okay, so and there will be a rotate by default, so rotate on Y minus 30 degrees. Degrees or degrees? Degrees, I would say. Well, whatever. So right there we can see the rotation on Y. You see? By default there will be a rotation just like that. Great. So now we just need to animate it just like that. So letter anim hover span after, and we will just rotate it a bit more. So rotate Y minus 40. So you see that it will move like that, like a door. When you open a door, for example. Okay, and we need to change the color, and it will be done. So basically, if you just want to change the color, you can add, for example, crimson right there, and you'll see that it will work. So there it will only be red every time, and there I've used some other colors. So if you want to have the exact same color, you can just take it from the source code if you want. Up, just like that. Okay, and now we do have some different colors. Alright, and that's pretty much it. A lovely little animation with a shadow and an upper animation with the after pseudo element. We are playing with the perspective, we are playing with skew, scale. It's a very nice and fun little exercise. And if you remove the perspective, it will look flat, you see? It's like there is no perspective right there. If you add it, you can see that it's much better. And if you remove it, look at that, tack, it's like it becomes it becomes flat, just like that. All right, great. Well, like it, subscribe and comment or whatever, and see you next time. Ciao.